in all my years of work, in how many hundreds of clients I've had, what I found is that there are kind of two extremes of clients, and there's one extreme that is more prolific than the other. Okay, the one extreme that doesn't happen as much are people that have a ton of arrogance, that are very full of themselves, believe that they are God's gift to the entire world, and have incredible. It's not confidence. It's different. It's hubris. But then there's the majority of my clients, typically because I don't work with these type of people. I tell them I'll find someone else for them. So then there's the people who really struggle with confidence, who are really hard on themselves, who if you hear them call themselves stupid a lot. You hear them call themselves, and this might be the picture of you, because this is the majority of my clients. They struggle with self-confidence at times, but they just beat themselves up a lot. And is it not true that we are far harder on ourselves than on other people in our lives? That typically we call ourselves names that we would never think of calling somebody else. We think evil thoughts about ourselves that we wouldn't be so hard if it was somebody else in our lives. Today, what I want to encourage you to do is I want you to go a little easier on yourself. Now that sounds so weird, and I think that in our culture we mess that up a lot and just say, like, don't expect anything of yourself. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't expect anything of yourself. Have high expectations for yourself. Do that. But it is completely counterproductive to beat yourself up. Beating yourself up, calling yourself names, doing it, saying I'm never going to get this. That's not helpful to you. That's not going to help you reach your goals. And that's what I'm about. So it's not about pretending that you're amazing when you know you're not in certain ways, certain skill sets. But it's also not about just demeaning yourself consistently. What we say out loud, usually we say in behind the scenes far more, and this is true across the board with many people. So if you're calling yourself names, I'm so clumsy, I'm so stupid, I'm not very good at this, I'm not very good at this, be careful with your words, because that affects you and it affects your mindset. I'm going to give you one activity today if you struggle with this. One activity today, and if you don't struggle with this, you know many people who struggle with this. So it's either going to be useful for you or a lot of people around you. The activity is that every night before you go to bed, I want you to do one thing, and that is keep a journal beside your bed. And I want you to physically write out, not on your iPhone, not on your iPad, or whatever device you have. I want you to actually physically write out 3 things that you did, 3 actions that you took that are working towards your goals. And it doesn't matter what your goals are, whether it's business, whether it's personal development and help, whether it is relationships or whatever it is. I want you to write down 3 action steps you took that help you towards your goals that day. Now, there have been days where I've struggled with this, but I went through a time where I was really struggling myself, and during that time, this had a profound effect on me. What it did was it just started to change how I think. It started to change the normal patterns in my brain. And instead of thinking frustrated thoughts before I went to bed, which didn't create as much restful sleep, and I wasn't as engaged in getting up early the next morning to do the things that I wanted and needed to do. Instead, I actually started sleeping better. I started having just a couple of thoughts at night where I go, you know what, wait a second, I did do some things well. And so I slept better, and the next morning I did wake up, and I was far more engaged with my day. Now, I don't do this consistently anymore, but this is a fantastic exercise. If you've ever had me as a coach, you know that I do this with people. This is a fantastic exercise to simply get a bearing of where you're at in a different perspective, because usually we're hard on ourselves, and sometimes it's helpful to say, no, wait a second, I am making progress here. I am growing. Think about the quote that I've given many times if you've heard me speak. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. It's not about reaching the goal. It's about working towards the goal. And if you're consistently working towards your goal, you'll hit it sometime. I don't know exactly when, and I can't promise you when it's going to be. You will hit it if you consistently grow. And if you consistently, every day, take actions towards your goal, no matter how big or small, if you're consistently moving forward, you will hit your goal. I've climbed mountains. I just was this last weekend I was on a backcountry trip, and consistently I'm surprised. You just put one foot in front of the other, and you eventually get there. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes I've got sore muscles on the way up, and yet I get there every time if I put one foot in front of the other. I just keep going. There's a famous idiom in our culture that says, "How do you eat an elephant?" And the answer is one bite at a time. Take one bite at a time, but make sure you're recognizing what you're doing on a consistent basis, and you will learn to enjoy the process.